Okay, so we will go ahead and get started. Welcome to week 12. This is the last of the faith based flows through the private Facebook group, and I have been so humbled to be here these past 12 weeks teaching in the comfort of my own home, dealing with all of those separate challenges. But it feels like the end of a beginning. So I'm really excited about what's to come next on Moxie. But to get started for tonight's class, it's a full body practice, no specific alignment or cues that we're focusing on in particular, but really just a good practice focused on whole body engagement. So we'll begin as we always do, prayer. Bring your hands to your heart. You can gently close your eyes. Dear God, thank you for giving us space to practice this evening. Thank you for carving time into our hearts and in our minds to meditate on you, to come into our bodies and to calm our bodies and minds. I pray that this practice is one that is healing and energizing and really comforting so that we continue to do the work that's involved in showing up brighter and bigger and more like you each and every day. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, we will move to our mats and begin on our backs with the soles of our feet on the mat. And just let your arms be long at your sides. And then right from where we are, we're going to gently lift our hips. A really subtle bridge pose. Now, having this be the first movement of the practice, there's no need to stress about lifting your glutes, squeezing them tight. This is all an action of simply opening the front of the hips. Use your breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Slowly lower your hips back to the mat. Windshield wiper your knees left and right. And then from here, we'll hug both of our knees up and into our chest, giving ourselves a big squeeze. Drop your knees over to the right. Open your arms. Gaze falls left. And so in all of my yoga practices, I really like to start class by warming up the body, gentle twists, gentle breath. Hug your knees into your chest. And drop them over to the left. And gaze falls right. And the purpose of doing so is to protect our body from injury, but also give our minds a chance to slow down. I don't know about you, but I am currently working from home. And so I get out of bed in my personal life, step into my office in my professional life, and then I head right onto the mat for yoga, which is a beautiful blend of the two, to be quite honest. But I have to pause and give myself time to transition from one place to the next. Hug your knees back up and into your chest. Because if I don't, I find that all areas of my life tend to spill and bleed into each other. While sometimes that can be good, a nice blending, other times it can get a little messy. Hug your knees up and into your chest and just rock up and down your spine. And then forward fold at the top of your mat. Both feet come to the ground. Reach for your elbows, ragdoll pose. So stepping onto our mats, These few gentle poses to begin our practice help us transition from a place of thinking and doing to a place of being and breathing. When we can feel more within our bodies, showing up in our being, we can listen to the messages about where there's aches, where there's pains, what needs a little bit more love or oxygen even. Drop your hands to your shins and crawl them all the way up your legs. Reach them high. Mountain pose, extended mountain pose. Forward fold. Halfway lift, length through the spine. Fold forward. Arms reach up, extended mountain pose. Then bring your hands to a goalpost shape and gently twist your torso to the right. So your hip bones stay facing forward toward the front of the mat. This is just an opening and a gentle rinse of the abdominal cavity as well as the shoulder girdle. Come back to center. Take your twist to the left. If you find your shoulders are up toward your ears, can you melt them down your back? Come back to center, forward fold. Lift and lengthen your spine, forehead comes forward. Exhale, melt. And sweep your arms up, extended mountain. Goal post the arms, take your twist to the right. Come back to center. Take your twist to the left. And come back to center, forward fold. Once more, halfway lift, long spine. And this time, plant your hands, step your feet, and drop your knees, tabletop. Drop the belly, lift the head, cow pose. Curl the spine, chin to chest, cat. And drop the belly, lift the head, open through the chest, bright through the neck. Curl the spine, chin to chest. Once more, belly drops, head lifts. Our spot for communication, open-hearted action, really getting some love, and then press the ground away from you, chin to chest. Come back to a neutral spine. This time we'll reach our left foot out behind us. It's parallel to the mat. Our toes are flexed down toward the floor. Hug your left knee up and in toward your nose. Curl the spine like a cat. Extend, pressing the bottom of your left foot up toward the ceiling. Hug everything in. Extend the sole of your foot up toward the ceiling. Hug your knee inward. And flex the foot upward. Drop your left knee to the mat. And then drop both of your hips over to the left side of your mat. You'll come up off of your hands. And then reach your left arm up and over your head. Really deep stretch in the left side of your body. Take a deep breath in and out. And drop your hands back to the mat. Crawl forward, tabletop. And this time reach your right foot behind you. Flex in the foot as if you're going to put a footprint, a stamp on the wall behind you. And then hug your right knee up and into your chest. Extend, sole of the right foot presses up toward the ceiling. And being careful not to overextend the hip. This is really just a gentle action to engage the glute muscle, protect the low back. Hug your knee into your chest. Extend and press up toward the ceiling. Hug your knee into your chest. Extend and press. Once more. Hug your knee into your chest. Extend and press. Bring your right knee back to the mat. Shift your hips over to the right side of your mat. Right arm comes up and over your head. And so the action of engaging the muscles on our back side helps protect the low back because we oppose it with a core movement. So we're protecting front and back. Come down to a tabletop pose. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Cycle of breath in and out. Deep breath in. Long breath out. And this time, lift your heels on an inhale and gently press them toward the mat. Exhale. Lift your right leg up, three-legged dog. Step your right foot forward and rise, warrior one. Your back heel is at a 45-degree angle. Your arms are lifted, side body's long. Bring your arms to a cactus pose. And on an inhale, stretch them up toward the ceiling as you extend your right leg. Exhale, bend and lower. Inhale, arms and legs lengthen. Exhale, bend. Once more, inhale and reach. And drop your hands to the instep of your right foot. Step your right foot back, high plank. You can lower all the way to your belly. Cobra pose. Press back, downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. We'll go ahead with that action of lifting our heels on the breath in and sending them back toward the ground on an exhale. Lift your left leg high, three-legged dog, and step your left foot to the top of the mat and rise. Warrior one. Bring your arms to a cactus shape. Breath in sends your legs and arms long and you upward. Link through the spine. Exhale and lower. Inhale, lift and press. Exhale, lower and strengthen. Once more, lift and lengthen. Drop your hands to the instep of your left foot. Step back, high plank. Lower all the way to your belly. Cobra pose. Head and chest lift. Press back, child's pose. So taking your knees wide and your big toes to touch will allow for an opening in the hips. You can let your chin or your forehead rest on the mat. Then walk both of your hands over to the right side of your mat. Drop your left hand over top your right. We're really digging deep into the side body to feel a stretch in our obliques and the muscles that support our rib cage, the serratus anterior. Crawl your hands over to the left side of your mat. Drop your right hand over top your left. And these are the muscles that quite literally help us breathe more easily. So yes, there's the phrase that so many love to say, take it easy. But how can you make it easy? How can you feel it in your body to unwind, to release, to find a sense of ease and buoyancy? Come back to center. Press yourself up, tabletop. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up, three-legged dog. And step your right foot to the top of the mat and rise, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Cartwheel your hands to the mat and wave the right arm, low lunge twist. And come back up, warrior two. And reverse your warrior. Gently bring your hands to the instep of your right foot. Drop your left knee, straighten through the right leg, runner's lunge. Breathe some space into the back right calf, all the way up into your glute and hamstring. You can walk your hands back toward your hips if you need a bit more stability and support. Wherever you are, think about that action of the halfway lift and see if you can lengthen your spine, crown of the head reaching out rather than up. And put a bend in your front leg, sweep it behind you, supported side plank. Right hand is lifted, chest is bright and open. And drop your right hand to the mat. Step both feet back and lift your hips, downward facing dog. And breath in, and breath out. Lift your left leg up, three-legged dog. Step your left foot forward and rise, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Bring your hands to the mat and wave the left arm, low lunge twist. Come back up, warrior two. Going through the motions, building a little bit of lubrication in our joints, reverse warrior two. Bring your hands to the mat, drop your right knee, straighten through the left leg, runner's lunge. So as we shift from this place of thinking to being, as we become more aware of our body and breath and the sensations, the way that it's speaking to us, we build an expression, an authentic expression of who we are, because we can't turn away from what our body's telling us. And for a long time, I tried to convince myself that I was a spinner, that I like to bike and spin. But the more yoga I began to do, the more I realized that I really wasn't listening to my body in those moments. I really didn't love to spin. I didn't love to be on a stationary bike. I like to move my body in a more expressive way. Maybe you felt that way before. Crawl your hands to the front of the mat. Step your left foot back to meet the right. High plank. You can lower halfway into a yogi push-up or all the way to the mat. Upward facing dog or cobra. Press yourself back, downward facing dog. And it's not just the way we move. It can also be the things that we do in our days. Intention is everything. So are you going through the motions, or are you doing them for the love of it? Because truly in your heart you feel called to. Our bodies are a guide. Our bodies are a teacher. Our bodies can tell us the authentic expression that really sits well with us. Lift your right leg up, three-legged dog. Step your right foot forward and rise. Warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Cartwheel your hands to the mat. Raise your right arm, low lunge twist. Come back up, warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Bring your hands to the mat, runner's lunge. Going through the motions, but can you be intentional? Intentional with your breath, intentional with the flex in your right foot, with the length in your spine, the opening in your back hip as you square off your hips. Continue to breathe. And crawl your hands to the front of the mat. Tuck your left toes and come up, crescent lunge. And bring your hands to a cactus shape and take a gentle twist to the right. Come back to center. Cartwheel your hands to the mat. Step your right foot back, high plank. Lower yourself halfway or all the way. Upward facing dog or cobra. Press back, downward facing dog. Reach your left leg up. Step your left foot forward and rise, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Bring your hands to the mat. Wave the left arm, low lunge twist. Come back up to stand, warrior two. Reverse your warrior, open through the left side. Bring your hands to the mat. Drop your right knee, runner's lunge. So yes, it's one thing to go through the motions, to be on autopilot, but check in, drop in, feel what's here. Is it nourishing? Or is it a should? Is it something that you want to do or something you feel you should do? Authenticity builds when we begin to follow the cues from our body. Crawl your hands forward and lift up the right knee and rise, crescent lunge. Bring your hands and your arms into a goalpost shape and twist gently to the left, wringing out the spine. Soften your jaw. And come back to center. Cartwheel your hands to the mat and step your left foot back, high plank. Lower yourself halfway or all the way. Upward facing dog or cobra. Press back, downward facing dog. Take a really wide stance with your feet, like you're straddling your mat, and then press your hips back even further. A really nice opening in the hamstrings. Maybe the crown of your head even comes to the mat, and if it doesn't, that's okay too. The idea is a long spine. Crown of the head reaching toward the ground. Both of your hands rooted on the mat. Come back to a neutral downward facing dog, feet at the back of the mat. Wave your right leg up, three-legged dog. Step forward and rise, crescent lunge. Open up, warrior two. Cartwheel your hands to the mat, wave the right arm, low lunge twist. And come back up, warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Cartwheel your hands to frame your right foot, drop your left knee, runner's lunge. Your body should begin to feel warmer each time we move through this. Put a bend in your right knee and come to rise, crescent lunge. And right from here, bring your hands to your heart. We're going to test our balance here, test our resilience to come up into a tree pose. If you need to take a few steps, a few hops to get there, then so be it. And drop the judgment and feel what's there. And once you arrive in your tree shape, maybe that's just a kickstand with your left toes still on the mat, or it's at your calf or it's above the knee, anywhere but directly on the knee. Let yourself find something to fix your gaze on. We're going to move into another balancing pose called dancer. So reaching for your back left top of your foot, just a heel stretch, a nice quadricep opening in the front of the left leg, and reach your right arm up. This can be where you stay, and that is perfectly okay, or you can begin to expand and open just a bit more, pressing the top of your left foot into the palm of your left hand, thinking out rather than up. This is a very similar shape to what we took in all fours when we were pressing our left foot upward toward the ceiling. Our shoulders are open. Our breath is bright. Continue to breathe here. Slowly release, shaking it all out at the top of your mat. Sweep your arms up, extended mountain, and then bring them to your low back. Clasping them if they touch, bringing them to your hips if they don't. Open up through the heart. Feel the cracks and the pops that might happen in your spine, and then fold forward. And gently release your palms to the mat. Step your feet back, high plank. Lower halfway or all the way to your belly. Upward facing dog or cobra. Press back, downward facing dog. Reset your focus with 3 bright, deep breaths. And then as you're ready, we'll lift our left leg, 3-legged dog. Step your left foot to the top of the mat and rise. Warrior 1. Open up, warrior 2. Cartwheel your hands to the mat, wave the left arm, low lunge twist. Blossom open, warrior 2. Reverse your warrior. Cartwheel your hands to the mat, drop the right knee, runner's lunge. Crawl your hands forward and rise, crescent lunge. And bring your hands to your heart. So right here, I don't want you to anticipate what's coming next, but I want you to feel what is. I want you to listen to what your body's saying. Are all 4 corners of your left foot grounded in the mat? You can even begin to shift your weight that direction without even taking your right foot away from the ground. Are your shoulders down your back and rested? Are your hips stacked underneath your shoulders? So that way, as you press and lift into tree pose, it's all one shape coming together. There's the point in the practice where your mind begins to shift to a place of negativity. I can't, I won't, I shouldn't, I didn't. How long does it take you to return to love? How long does it take you to breathe a big breath in of acceptance, of compassion, of grace, and come right back to feeling your feet where they are? Gently bend the right knee, reaching for the right foot, quadricep stretch. Stay here or reach your left arm up and begin to open, thinking out rather than up for a dancer's pose. Slowly release, shaking out your legs. Arms sweep up above you. Bring them to your low back. Open through the heart. And this time heel toe your feet out a bit wider for a forward fold. And just a different way to feel it in the backs of your legs. Release your hands to the mat. I'm going to turn to face the front, but you can stay right where you are. You're going to heel toe your feet outward so that your big toes point out and just shift your weight into your right leg. So there's a bend in your right knee. Left leg is long and toes can flex back toward you. Your arms are out. You're almost using your right tricep as a prop to help keep an opening in the right hip. You'll know you've gone too far when you've lost your breath. So if you need to come up a bit higher, support yourself a bit more with the whole left foot on the mat, then do so. We'll switch sides, putting a bend in our left leg. Weight transfers over to the left side of our mat. All 5 toes of the right foot flex back toward us. And as always, our spine is long, our neck is smooth, our jaw is relaxed, and we are breathing. And just like every cell in our body needs oxygen to thrive and to survive, as do we with loving thoughts. Letting them swirl within us and letting us send them out to others, just like our breath in and out. Come back to center, heel toe your feet inward, and then big toes will go slightly out. Sink your hips, bend your knees, goddess squat. We prepped our hips for this with the wider variation to begin with. And now we use both triceps as an anchor to help us open and breathe and ground. Now, if this does not feel good in your hips or your knees, you can always bring your sits bones down to the mat and come into a butterfly shape. Three more breaths here. And then we will slowly all make our way onto our back, hugging our knees into our chest. We're going to set up for a single leg bridge pose. So with both of your feet grounded into the mat, lift your hips. And then if you'd like to be challenged, stretch your right leg up toward the ceiling. Flex the toes as if you're going to put a stamp on the ceiling now. Really working with this action of opening our hip flexor and supporting the glute. Slowly lower your hips down to the mat, but leave your left leg up, or your right leg up. And put a bend in the right knee and cross your right ankle over top your left leg. We'll come into figure 4 shape, sweeping our right arm through the loop we've created, our left arm around the left side of our body. Maybe your hands connect and clasp maybe they don't. Again, using the breath as a cue here. If you've lost your breath, if it becomes more difficult to do that exchange with the world around you, then perhaps you've gone too far. You can take it back a notch by bringing your left foot back to the mat, by losing the arms entirely, bringing them above your head. This is your unique expression, your individual body that's speaking to you, that's telling you where your edge is. All you have to do is listen. All you have to do is become present with your breath. And this is why we call yoga a practice. There's never a destination, there's never an end. It's a constant practice of becoming present with ourselves, tapping into our needs of nourishing what we truly need within our body. Release the bind and drop your left thigh over to the left side of your mat, keeping your right foot right where it is. Open your arms into a T. Just a different way to do a supine stretch here. A good way to get into the side of the right thigh. Gently come back to center. Both feet grounded into the mat. Lift your hips. And then slowly press your left foot up toward the ceiling. You'll notice that this pose gets easier the more you can root your right foot into the ground. Slowly lower your hips to the mat. Bring your left ankle over top your right thigh. Thread your arms through the loop you've created, taking a figure 4 shape. Drop your right leg over to the right side of your mat. Open up your arms into a T. Feel the release. Deep breaths. Bring both of your legs back up and into your chest. Give yourself a big squeeze. And then send your legs forward as you come into a seated position for a forward fold. Both feet flex back toward your face. Head, neck, and shoulders. Your torso falls over your thighs. Gently roll onto your back, coming into a happy baby. One final hip opener, reaching for your big toes, maybe your calves or inner thighs. Heels press up toward the ceiling, knees bend, and shift toward the floor. So there's a quote I love to read. I think that it really sums up this idea in the practice of being rather than thinking. It reads, "He said, love is patient. Then he said, I am love. He said, love is not easily angered. Then he said, I am love. He said, love keeps no record of wrongs. Then he said, I am love. He said, love always protects. Then he said, I am love. And I love that quote because it truly embodies what we are here to do. Yes, there's an action that love protects and heals and guides and restores, but only when we embody it ourselves, only when we choose to be love. Release the happy baby and extend your legs long. Shavasana, final rest. Let the effortful breath go and let yourself be. Be and breathe. And begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And hug your knees into your chest. Gently make your way to a seated pose. Hands can come to your heart, eyes are closed. Inhale, exhale. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you each move with light and love. Namaste.